Let's talk about the principle of overload. Now, the principle of overload is defined as providing your body with a stimulus greater than what it's used to. Now, to most people, that would be just lifting heavier or pushing harder when you're out for a run each and every week. But fortunately for you, I'm now going to go through a number of different ways in which we can provide our body with a greater stimulus than what it's used to, so that we can continue to progress through our training as the weeks and months go on. Now, as I've just mentioned, one of the first things that people try to progress is what is also known as load. Now, load is the amount of weight that one lifts. So, for example, we track it in kilograms, and you're bench pressing, and week after week you're trying to increase the amount that you bench press by a couple of kilos per time. Now, there comes a stage when your muscles aren't going to respond, and unfortunately that overload is starting to become a little bit too much on the body, and then the muscles don't take the load anymore, and then the stress starts to be placed on the ligaments and tendons, and that's when the joints become a bit sore and you might get a little bit of tendonitis over a prolonged period of time. So that is just one variable that we can look at when we're trying to create a stimulus that's greater than what we're used to. But let's just say that we don't want to continue increasing the load. We can look at changing what's known as tempo. And tempo is the speed of movement. And most people in the gym environment have probably been encouraged to do a tempo of 2 seconds down, 2 seconds up, which is absolutely fine. But without going into too much science of how the tempo is written and what each phase of the tempo means, variations in tempo are also a great way of, once again, creating overload and providing your body with a stimulus greater than what it's used to. Another thing that we can adjust, another variable, would be your rest period. And that one's quite simple. You could allow yourself a shorter rest period. Be a bit more strict, maybe get the stopwatch out and not, contemplate too many things during your rest period, but have a bit more structure behind your training session. However, if you are lifting heavy weights, then structured rest periods of lengthier time is important. You could increase the number of sets that you do. So going back to this bench press, we may have been doing 10 reps for 3 sets. But as we start to progress and get a bit stronger, maybe a 4th set might be one of the variables that you want to change to, again, create a stimulus greater than what you're used to. On the flip side of that, you could do more reps. Again, going back to the initial example, we've been bench pressing for some time, we're getting used to it, we've increased the weight, but we don't want to increase the weight too much because, like I said, the muscle won't take it on a long-term basis, and that's when the joints start to ache and the ligaments and tendons need a bit of a rest. So maybe we're looking at altering some of the repetitions, maybe doing more repetitions at the same weight. Okay, rather than thinking, let's just stick to 10, we might go to 12 at the weight we were doing 10, pushing out an extra couple of reps. Okay, we might bring the weight back down to where we were initially, but then maybe even do 15 reps. There are various ways in which we can create a stimulus greater than what you're used to in the gym environment. The same goes to when you're outside if you're going for a run. These constant changes in these variables, going back to what I've classified as the principle of overload, creating a stimulus greater than what your body is used to, is what is going to continue to help you get results further down the line, rather than just sticking to the same program and the same principles throughout. Now, I'm sharing this with you so you have a brief understanding, but fortunately enough, all of this is what I take care of. So when you turn up for training, you know that all of these things have been taken into consideration. But as usual, I want you to understand why you're doing the things you're doing, so you get a bit of an understanding and that you can even apply it into your own workouts.